Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday morning trading room. The end of another work week. Yesterday, the market pretty much responding the way we thought toward the end of the session, or toward the end of the morning session. The market just started moving in this rather large back and forth trading range. There were still opportunities to be had once you were able to identify that, in fact, the market was likely to remain range bound. What was interesting to me, however, is the rather large sell-off in the overnight. And that brings us back down near yesterday's lows, which is where we are opening. And that means we have a little bit, or a rather substantial, upside gap. This, of course, on the NASDAQ. So we'll see whether they're going to try to get into that gap or not. Right now, things looking a little bit more bullish. All our tools synced in a more bullish fashion overall. Oh, but maybe I spoke too soon. You hear the hawk now drifting and changing into red bars rather quickly. The Falcon also trend line is changing, and the Eagle and the Raptor, both of which coming into a hard edge. Trade Forecaster says we are moving into scalp mode in about a minute's time, and that's likely to see the market continue to exhibit some rather strong pullbacks. Oh, thank goodness. Scalp mode not lasting for a very long time here. Trade Forecaster predicting trend mode in about 10 minutes. We'll see if that leads to any kind of follow through. For those of you who like to trade your first in-sync signal of the day here on the Eagle, looks like it developed right here, and pretty good follow through so far. Likewise on the Raptor, this number one signal would be your first in-sync signal of the day. We've got the median line here at 74.35 3/4. That might cause A little bit of a hesitation. Quick little block of buying and selling going through the market. You can see right here, that's probably what spurred on a lot of this little rally. And things continue to look a little bit bullish. We've got a second push opportunity if I hurry on this late filter entry signal. Ooh, all right. It's a little bit rich. I can't really afford to risk it much more than that. But the late filter entry here on the Falcon, what time is it? Oh, it's still kind of early. The late filter entry signal here on the Falcon occurs when your filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync. Your trend line, however, never changes color, and you produce a signal. All right, well, the trend line has changed color now, so I think I'll just cancel that. Oh, are the sellers going to make an attempt to short now? Here we have our 232 signal. This is a counter trend trade. Well, technically it's counter trend to this trend. However, when you consider the larger trend, it may actually be in sync with the bigger trend. All right, it's early. I'm going to try to run this one out a little bit if they allow it. And I'll extend my break even somewhat. Okay, there's a little hesitation that we often see after a breakout. Like I said, this is still very early here in the session. I'm not sure the traders even know which way the market wants to go yet. So we'll see whether, here, let's take a look at the daily chart while we're waiting on this. So the question now is the market in an uptrend? Or is it in a downtrend? I guess developing a downtrend. So that's the big question on the board right now. Oh, darn it. They put in a rather strong rally there, pushing the market back up to the high. Well, that's no way to start the day. Oh well, dug a little bit of a hole there. So it looks like for today, we're going to be more in an uptrend. I'm going to go out on a limb and call it that today will be an uptrending sort of day. So let's see if we get another chance here to get on board. All right, back into the first hard edge here on the Raptor. We're also producing a red bar buy here on the Hawk. So there's a couple of chances to potentially get in long on this market again. All right, so here now the number 3 signal. And it looks like we got a second push opportunity. Now you're probably wondering, well, Eric, that didn't print as a number 3. How can you call that a number 3 signal? Well, visually, you can see that we've encountered the hard edge. We're actually just a tick short of the hard edge. No, not quite ready yet. All right. Wow, the seller's coming back here with some strength. We're actually starting to produce some sell signals back into the hard edge, which is a little problematic. Okay, there now the hard edge bounce, the number 3 signal, and can I, ooh, that's a, all right, we'll see. Now, if I were smart, I would just take profit on target, but I'm going to see whether or not they're going to try to run up here to the primary resistance zone, which is this blue line right here. Oh, there's a chance. Trade Forecaster says we're in scalp mode for the better part of, or pardon me, trend mode for the better part of the morning. Maybe, just maybe, we'll see a little bit of follow through here. Yesterday, the market was trading as around the 7,500 region, so there is a chance, we could even get a second zone here if you were inclined. You could try to shoot for 74.88 3/4. But right now, still waiting for the trend to get some traction. Okay, we got the break even. Parabolics look like they're following the market reasonably well. Or pardon me, parabolics. ATR. Okay, the pushback a little bit stronger than I anticipated, but that's all right. Still managed a profit on the trade. Profits are good. And here we come with a follow-up signal, another hard edge buy, another number 3. And I'll try to do the same thing. Here, let's really swing for the fences. I may not go all the way up there. Maybe I'll look around halfways. Make it a little bit easier.
Hey Scott. Scott says, okay, E, testing you here. Any way to see the NASDAQ direction up or down? Only looking at Fridays? Well, I'll let you guys in on a little something, a little sneak preview. What's that? That is the new flight path that I'm testing. And it's actually designed to help with the big question of which way is the market leaning. And it looks like it's working pretty good, so you can look to find out more about that very shortly. If I can write out this swing right here, um, there's a reasonable chance we'll at least get to the primary resistance line at 74.62 and a quarter. And then, of course, once the market kind of commits, you can usually anticipate a two-zone move. So what that means is if you're using your support and resistance suite as targets, this here is zone 1 and this here is zone 2. All right, pretty decent little rally, almost up now here to the primary resistance zone. Wow, they're going pretty good. Maybe I should extend my profit target, see if I can't get all that second zone, or most of it. Of course, you don't need a profit target. You could just trail a stop, let the market take you out. But we do know what the market tendency should be, and it should be to get to this, like I said, the second zone. And that's also very close to 7,500. I could see 7,500 being a favorable target also. Buyers showing up with a vengeance now. And, oh, are they going to give me one more swing? Come on. Not quite. Oh well. It was still a pretty good run up overall. Hooray for me. And it's unfortunate we had I had that little stink bomb earlier on, but that move certainly making up for it. And you know what? That's starting to look like it may well be the move of the day as well. Last couple 3 days, the market getting busy early. Yeah. So I got tagged on this little reverse, and now it looks like they are going to get up there to that next resistance line, 74.88 3/4, essentially 74.90. And you can see a little more hesitation as we kind of creep up on that level. Hey, way to go, Mickey. Mickey says that last run gave me $530. Nicely done, man. Scott, I'm trusting you got your two ticks out of that. Hopefully a little bit extra. Yeah, Scott says +2. And now a little bit of pullback as it looks like there's a little bit of profit taking going on. And things starting to swing a little bit more. Trade forecasters still, though, pretty much committed to trend mode. Of course, trend mode doesn't really tell us whether the market's heading up or down. So we'll just sit and wait. Obviously, if it wasn't for the sake of the trading room, my trading day is done. So just a little note here, if we find another opportunity. In actual fact, I'd be phoning for a tea time already. We are near the hard edge here on the Eagle. We've encountered the first hard edge on the Raptor, about to hit the second hard edge. Technically, this is a number 2 signal. The target for the number 2 signal would be the hard edge, so not really a huge opportunity there. But what's important to remember is that when you encounter the hard edge, we normally anticipate a reaction of sorts. The hawk, with a fairly reasonable countertrend signal here, the hawk already getting a little bit more bullish, or pardon me, bearish than the other tools, but we had a first micro macro cross, a macro pullback, and a 4 arrow consolidation, all kind of piggybacking on each other. And the market slipping just a little bit. We've got the city working on the storm drains down the street, so there's a lot of heavy equipment up and down our roads here. I'll try to mute it as they're coming along, but you may hear these big trucks rumbling through the back and wondering what in the world is going on at Eric's house. Well, there you go. Yeah, we're actually starting to consolidate a little bit here. One thing in trading that's much easier said than done is to leave yourself an adequate stop. Let's see if Floyd's in the room here this morning. Floyd wrote me. Oh, he is. Okay, Floyd. I wrote you back, but Floyd asked about scalping targets. If I'm only looking for a 5 or 10 tick move, Floyd asks, should I still leave my stop 2 swings back? So let's take a look at this first micro macro cross. And I said to Floyd that you could probably get by, if you're running a 10 tick target, you could probably get by with a 20 tick stop. No, it's not going to show it. Okay. No, that's much more than 20 ticks. Hold on here a second. So I need to go 5 points back. So there's your first micro macro cross, 77.70. Okay, there's approximately a 20 tick stop. The idea behind scalping is that the tighter profit objective will mean that you'll hit your profit target more often than you'll hit your stop loss. And even though your stop loss is twice your profit target, the higher win rate should offset that. Now, the math says that you actually need to run, I think, about a 60% win rate in order to make that favorable. Here's the thing. Oh, that one worked. It came close, but it did work out. The thing with running a stop, an arbitrary dollar stop that way, is that it does open up the possibility that you're going to enter within the current range of the marketplace. That makes timing your trade very, very important. If you set your trade with your stops on a more structured type stop, normally I recommend 2 swings back. Here we essentially have a double or triple bottom. I would probably consider that strong enough rather than say, okay, well, there's swing 1 and way down here is swing 2. I would probably consider that strong enough to make it work. People look at this and they get fearful of the dollar amount. They don't like the way the trade looks because it looks very lopsided, which it is. But of course, you need to remember that this is merely your safety net. And that the stop loss order does not need to stay here, right? The stop loss order can be adjusted. So when you see this swing, now all of a sudden you can bring your stop up here. And whereas you initially had almost $300 at risk, now you're risking about 100 or 125, whatever it was. The bigger stop also improves the probabilities that your profit target will be hit. It's a strange thing about trading, but the bigger the stop loss, the more likely you will make money. It's really difficult, but to the best of your ability, try to think of it as a game. Try not to think of that amount as real money. Try to think of it just as a way of keeping score. And I know that's much easier said than done. But I run into people all the time who strangle their trades and only to watch the market go on to their profit objective without them. And I can't think of many things more frustrating in trading than that. To be right about a trade and to lose money. Okay, still in this little bit of a consolidation pattern. The trend definitely up. If you're anxious for a trade, you're probably better off buying than trying to sell. We'll see what happens if the market can take out kind of the low of this sideways trading range that's developing. Tight little congestion. Here's a great question from Scott. Scott says, does it seem like Fridays go long more than short? You know, Scott, I've never documented it, but I bet you're right. It's rare that the market finishes the week on a bearish note. That would be That would be worth taking 20 minutes and trying to take a look at that. Scott says, just seems like it. Anywhere we can look that up, some website? I have a feeling this is the kind of thing that requires a little bit of do-it-yourselfness to it. Let's see here if I can. Where's my? All right, that'll be a rough approximation. So you'd have to count back 5 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that a Friday? Was the 24th a Friday? I've already changed my calendar. August the 24th was a Friday. Okay, so far so good. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's the exception that proves the rule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, for the most part, it does, so far anyways, it does appear as though the market is more bullish on Fridays, although we have had a couple rather bearish days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I won't do this for the rest of the morning, but just we'll take a look at a few here. All right, so yeah, the vast majority of days have been bullish. It seems like at least a 2-to-1 kind of ratio. Of course, today is not finished yet, but that's a very interesting observation. We'll call that the Schaefer effect. There you go. Now you're famous. Or infamous. Yeah, and we'll change the name of the late filter to the Jandal. Yeah. In Mark's honor. He's crushing that signal. My goodness. Okay, we're still kind of consolidating here. A little bit of a sideways drift. You can see the market's really liking these numbers, just trading back and forth over these same numbers. It may offer an OCO opportunity, but I think I may wait for the breakout and the retest. we're getting a lot of background highlights, kind of the candy striping going on. That's suggestive that the market is also sideways and range bound. And even visually, it looks as though, pardon me, things slowing down here a little bit. All right, kind of at the bottom end of this broad trading range now. We'll see if the buyers try to pick it up again. Speaking of late filter entries, here was another one coinciding with the trend change signal on the Falcon. All right, we're gonna test this bottom end, and looks like we're going to get an early cloud crossover signal here to short. Cloud's not fully crossed yet, but if prices head a little bit lower, they will probably signal a number one, or at the very least an early number one. But looking, at the overall context, you can see fairly significant lows right now, and there may not be a whole lot of interest in trying to short the market from here. What typically happens is if there's been a rally higher or lower, the market kind of settles in a little bit, and it may spend much of the remainder of the day just kind of in a sideways drift. We're coming up on an hour, the hour mark, and a lot of times if there is or has been a trend, the market will try to reverse on the trend. Not full-blown reversal, but think more like profit-taking reversal. It's funny you should mention this, Dan. Dan says, what about a possible OCO above the high of the morning? That's a dotted green line. And the primary resistance line. It's funny you should mention that because I was just thinking about something like that. You know, it's the kind of situation where when in doubt, you know, if you have a trend, stay with the trend. Now, I'm not going to recommend you do this. I'm just going to do this for demonstration purposes. All right, so keep that in mind. This is for demonstration purposes. But you could essentially pick up the very next buy signal. Oh, and there we have one right here. So I'm going to just jump in with a buy. So I'm looking to take advantage of this buy signal right here. I'm a little bit late on it. But just to show what might happen if for no other reason you just stay with trend. Ooh, and you can see had I got a better entry, I would be at my profit objective already. Hopefully they'll get up here a little bit and at least give me the break even. There, we'll make it a little easier for them. Come on. And we'll help them up. Get going. Come on, get up there. I'm going to really squeeze this. Just give them that one bar. All right. Yeah, like I said, if had I gotten a slightly better entry off of that buy signal, you can see I would have hit my profit target without too much difficulty. But just the fact of staying with trend. Trend is such a factor in trading. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Your most difficult job as a trader will be trying to identify trend. Yeah, Dan says, great minds think alike. Or as my wife likes to add, small minds seldom differ. So leave it to her to come up with that one. Oh, and I was just a little bit too quick with the stop there. We get a little bit of a extra push up. And now the market back in this little bit of a sideways mode. Starting to look a little less bullish after this breakout. So we saw this little bit of a breakout above these highs, just teeny tiny breakout. And now we've moved back inside the trading range. That's not bullish. It's actually a little bit more bearish. Now we're back into the sideways drift. So the longer we stay moving sideways like this, the more likely it seems that we may see a move lower. Yeah, I know, Phil says, but it keeps working higher, but it's struggling. It's struggling to do so. Yes, technically it is higher, but for the last half hour, we haven't seen any significant gains. You know, 5 ticks is not really, or 5 points not really counting as significant. Or at least not to my way of thinking. We may be in a holding pattern here for a little while. All right, a little bit of a pushback. The longer they stay sideways like this, the more inclined I might be to try an OCO order. I'm not going to commit to one just yet. We'll see how the buyers manage. This is pretty much the last chance for the buyers. After breaking higher, they lost their grip. So if they can't recover off of the lows and resume the trend, there is a reasonable expectation the market may try to head lower, at least for the very short term. Don't think we'll see a full-blown reverse, like I said, but a move back to maybe 74.50? That does not seem unrealistic. I'm just kind of eyeballing halfways of the run up. All right, there's a little bit of a bull push now off of the lows. We're actually producing a red bar buy signal, even though the band is very, very neutral. Okay, I'm going to get my OCO ready, and I think what I will do is I will short below here. This is the eagle, of course, so I can afford to be a little bit tighter on it. I will short below there. I will buy that red bar buy signal. So that now is my OCO order. Ooh. All right, we'll just leave it like that. All right, so I got filled to the short side. I'll get my stops in play. I should actually have these ready beforehand, but okay, let's see if we get any follow through. So the big test, these lows right here, and if I get some follow through on that, I will quickly change my stop strategy. In fact, I will get my bar high low ready. All right, I'm gonna hold my stops here for the moment. A little bit of a pushback off of these lows, which is to be expected. Okay, the eagle now with a proper trend change signal. Now that the band has turned over fully, we're probably getting comparable signals on the other tools. Yes, we are here on the, oh, the Hawk's a bit of a mess. The Falcon with a trend change slash late filter entry, and then the Raptor with a very, very quick number 1 signal, and now a number 3 signal, a hard edge bounce. So we'll see if they do try to get here below the lows. I will throw in my stop strategy, and we'll see what happens. Important little rally here for the buyers. Not much has come of it so far. So long as we're making lower swing highs, that's favorable. But if the market doesn't start to get some momentum here, it may well just continue back toward the top end of the trading range, in which case it would tag me out along the way. Such is the OCO order. Or as a trading friend of mine always used to say, never trust a breakout. And you may see why. We'll hang with it for a few minutes more.
I am going to close the room a few minutes early today. I have a meeting at the top of the hour I do not want to be late for. Okay, well, there you have it. So the market's still very content to remain in the sideways trading range. Yeah, it's probably going to stay more or less sideways for the remainder of the session. It is Friday. We are kind of creeping up on the lunch hour. I know it's still a little bit early for the lunch hour, but the market just looking like it's very happy where it's at right now. All right, gang. Like I said, I'm going to close the room a little bit early here today. Enjoy your weekend. I know I'm going to enjoy mine, and I will see you on Monday. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.